What does your body feel like in zero gravity?
What inspires you to become an astronaut?
What exercise do you do? And do you sweat in space?
Would a yo-yo work in microgravity?
So it works.
Station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event? Liberty County School District, this is Mission Control Houston. Please call station for a voice check.
Station, this is Liberty County School District. How do you hear me?
Have you loud and clear. Welcome aboard the International Space Station.
We are honored to host this event with NASA and want to showcase the partnership that we share with the United States Army at Fort Stewart. All the students asking questions today have family members serving in the armed forces. Many of them are currently deployed in Afghanistan, Iraq, Kuwait, and South Korea. The deployed family members will be watching live on NASA TV from their duty stations. We proudly honor the military servicemen and women in Liberty County. We are ready to begin.
What advice would you give to families that are separated by deployments that are similar to your extended missions on the International Space Station?
I don't know what advice I can offer. You guys have been dealing with this on and off for a while. I left the United States in early February, and I'll return and left Earth in mid-March, and will return in early October. I just think we all need to keep in mind, myself and parents and children and spouses, that you know, we're serving a higher purpose. And sometimes that purpose requires sacrifice, and I don't have much to offer other than a life of service is a thing to be proud of, and we shall be very proud of the work that your families are doing.
How has being a middle school teacher helped you as an astronaut and during your missions?
You sound like you might be around a middle school student. The job of a teacher is a really challenging one. You are asked to accommodate the needs, particularly in middle school, of over 100 individuals every day with the most important formative years of their life. And so you have a lot of things you have to keep, a lot of balls you got to keep up in the air all at the same time, and they're all really important. You can't afford to let things drop, and that is very much like it is on the International Space Station. The demands are high, our days are full, and we have a lot of things we have to keep, balls we have to keep up in the air at the same time. We can't afford to let them drop. So I found that there are some surprising similarities.
What is your favorite thing about being an astronaut?
The people I work with, by far and away, that's my favorite thing. I'm up here on the International Space Station with some amazing people, and there's amazing people all around the world that make this whole endeavor possible. And also being a part of something bigger than myself, serving a higher purpose. I get a great deal of satisfaction being one of the lucky human beings that gets to come up to the International Space Station and represent many people all around the world.
How do you recycle water on the International Space Station?
Well, yeah, water. In fact, we just released a very interesting video that my friend Drew did. It just went out today, and talking about how we recycle water. And we talk about water, we're talking urine, perspiration, and humidity in the air. We don't want to waste any water because it's very expensive to get to orbit. So we recycle almost all of it. We have a very, very complex water recovery system and processing system that essentially we're moving towards becoming closed loop. We will just continue to use the same water over and over and over again, which has a huge benefit when we go out and explore the solar system, not having to carry a bunch of water with us, but being able to use what we have. But that's also going to have some implications and I think some benefits on Earth, because there's a lot of communities right now that are stressed for water. Access to clean drinking water is one of the biggest challenges, global health challenges we face. And anything we can do up here to help make that process better is, I think, a huge benefit for life on Earth.
Our school district is very interested in coding and robotics. How do robotics help you with missions on the space station?
We could not have built the space station without robotics. We have used robotic arms to assemble this space station, and we use it to maintain it. And for instance, we have a cargo vehicle that's going to arrive shortly, and it's going to have some new batteries for the outside of the space station. Those batteries are all going to be removed and largely installed, and the space station is going to be prepared by a robotic arm. And also the Dexter, which is a kind of a handyman robot that actually flies on the end of our robotic arm. And all of that is controlled by people on the ground. So at night when we're sleeping, there's people flying a robotic arm outside the space station doing work. And then when it comes time to finally finish the install of the batteries and do other maintenance activities around the International Space Station, we use the robotic arm to assist us with our repairs and maintenance that we do outside. So robotics are a critical part of the ISS and will become even more critical as we head out into the solar system.
Our military audience eats MREs or meals ready to eat when they are in the field or deployed. How do the meals you get on the space station compare to these military meals?
I think some of them might come out of the same central vat that's located somewhere in the middle of the country. I'm not sure, but this is chicken fajitas, which the packaging probably looks very familiar. We have an oven. I know some of the MREs actually, when you're deployed in the field, actually have a food warmer, a chemical reaction that it can actually warm food without having an oven. We just throw this in a small oven. Another thing we have, which is slightly different than a lot of your standard MREs, is we use rehydrated food. So the food is dehydrated, sent up without water, again, because it makes it takes up less space and weighs less. And then we add hot water to it and eat it later. This will eventually become beef stroganoff. And our drinks also come as dehydrated drinks. And we just add water, and we have these packets which come folded up very small, almost like a postcard, and we can add water to make tea, make coffee, make fruit juice, whatever it is we want.
What was your favorite training experience when you were working to be an astronaut?
Far and away, learning to fly airplanes was my favorite, the favorite training experience I had. It's something I hadn't really considered doing when I was younger, and having the opportunity to get an airplane and learn how it works and to operate it was just an absolute thrill.
How does the work NASA is doing studying plants and microgravity compare to plant growth on Earth?
Yeah, it's a little different environment up here, and I've actually grown some plants. There's a plant habitat where we grow plants. I'm looking at it right now, and there's another one over in the Columbus module. I'm actually in the Japanese module right now. The process is basically the same. You need water, nutrients, and light. We provide light through LED lights, which kind of like you would use in a greenhouse. We can't really pour water on plants, so we have the habitat actually has these pillows and special ways to get water to the plants, and the same with nutrients. We really don't use soil because it's just hard to maintain, keep it contained. So we focus on those things. The plants grow very similar to they do on Earth. They don't have to deal with gravity as much, so their stems probably grow a little bit differently. But the main driving force for plants on the International Space Station when they grow, just like on Earth, is light. And so as we head out into the solar system, taking plants along with us, not only for food, but for oxygen production, is going to be really important. So it's something we need to figure out here on the International Space Station.
If you were to return to the classroom after your work with NASA, what would you change in your classroom and community?
At the community level, really, I would focus a whole lot less on standardized testing and more focus on the process of understanding science. It's really good to have a knowledge of scientific facts. But what's, I think, even more critical is you understand the process, because it's a process of critical thinking. You take a set of data, you analyze it, and you come up with a conclusion based on the data. And data doesn't really have an agenda. Data will tell you the truth if you interpret it correctly. And so I think a focus on science as a process and getting students heavily involved in the process of science is something that I would be very passionate about.
Our school district is a coastal area, and we have a STEM school that is focused on coastal sustainability. So what advice would you give us about sustainability and being environmentally aware?
That's a great and a timely question, as the people of the Carolinas are dealing with a massive storm, Hurricane Florence, which was not all that different from the storm we dealt with in Houston, Hurricane Harvey last year. As our oceans warm and our climate warms, the data is telling us what's going to happen, and we're unfortunately seeing that right now. And I live in Houston. I grew up in Maryland, so I certainly understand your concern. I think, again, the process of science, what is the data telling us about what's going on, and developing informed citizens. I think that's absolutely critical. It's great when you have kids who are focused on science, but I really want students to also, even if they're not going to be scientists, to understand the process of science so they can be informed citizens and be engaged citizens. So that would be my recommendation, is to focus on the process, see what the data is telling you, and be active and engaged in the process of being a citizen of our country.
If you could bring one person to the International Space Station to experience space for the first time, who would it be and why?
I had my 25th wedding anniversary here on orbit, so that's a pretty easy question. I would love to have brought my wife up here to at least for just a day to get a look out the window. But I had a guy, former astronaut, when I first met him, a guy named Bob Kirby. He told me, I'll never forget, he said, you know, when you get to space, the first thing you want to be able to do is take everyone you know and share that moment of looking back at our Earth. Because I think it would instill a greater understanding of our place, not only in the solar system, but in the cosmos. We have this amazing oasis out in this kind of vast, unforgiving environment. And to be able to see that and just see how precious and beautiful and how small the Earth really is relative to everything else that's out there, I think it would help us make better informed decisions about our planet moving forward.
How do you drink in space?
Very carefully. We actually drink, like, this is just drinking water here in a bag, but water, we have a lot of electronic equipment that you can see around here, and water can make a big mess, and it likes to stick together. So we just drink through a straw, but when we're playing and trying to have fun, we can just let water float around and drink it like that as well. But typically everything comes in a bag with a straw.
What do you do with your trash and waste in space?
We generate quite a bit. We have 6 people living up here pretty much year-round, and a lot of scientific equipment that comes and goes. We take advantage of cargo ships that are essentially one-way vehicles. They bring all the materials and supplies we need, and when we send them back home, they burn up in the Earth's atmosphere on their way back to Earth. So we actually separate our trash. We try to recycle all that we can. We try to reuse all that we can, but that which we can't recycle and reuse, we pack into these cargo vessels and send them back, and they burn up into the Earth's atmosphere on their way back to Earth.
How do you exercise in microgravity?
Exercise is an important part of our day here, just like it is for you on Earth. And it's so important that we get scheduled 2 hours a day on the space station while we're here every day. And we have two kind of aerobic exercises that we do. We have a bicycle, which we can ride, and we also have a treadmill. And they're similar to a bicycle, or an exercise bicycle anyway, that you would use on Earth. And the treadmill is fairly similar too, but they do have accommodations for microgravity. Our treadmill has a harness which pulls us down onto the treadmill. The exercise bicycle we actually ride standing up, since you don't really need a seat. And then finally, for our muscular skeletal strength, we have a device called a resistive exercise device. And it's similar to weightlifting, but lifting weights up here doesn't really mean too much. So this device actually uses principles of resistance to exercise the major muscles in our skeletal system.
After seeing Earth from space, what advice would you give to us about taking care of our planet?
Yeah, it's interesting. We're on this little space station. It's pretty big. It's probably the biggest thing humans can build and keep people alive up here. And we have 6 people from around the world. We have 2 Russians. We have a German astronaut with us, 3 Americans. Earlier, we had a Japanese astronaut with us. And we come from different places, different backgrounds, and different political systems, really. And sometimes there's differences that occur on planet Earth, but up here they don't really matter. Because we understand we have to work together to make this space station work. But if you look at Earth, it's really nothing but a large space station. And everyone who's ever lived, and anyone you've ever known, ever loved, or will ever care about, live on that one planet. And I think we really owe it to ourselves to think about Earth as a space station, and learn to cooperate a little bit more, and to learn to take care of the resources. It's not an infinite supply of resources; they are very limited, and work together to protect this magnificent space station we call Earth.
What advice would you give to someone? Would you give to someone who wants to apply to be an astronaut?
You have to study science, technology, engineering, or mathematics, something in the STEM field. So you guys are on your way there. I would say find something you really love, something you're very passionate about, and do that to the best of your ability. But have a broad perspective. Try different things that are kind of outside of your comfort zone. Flying to space is not comfortable. We try to make it comfortable, but it's really not. And you have to work with people with different ideas and different backgrounds and different languages. So find something you're really passionate about, do it to the best of your ability, and take on new challenges, the things that you normally wouldn't try or do, but know that you're going to learn from them and be a better person for it.
What do you do for fun on the International Space Station?
Well, we're at microgravity, so we can do all kinds of things to have fun. It's a pretty fun environment when there's really no up or down. So we can do kind of things on Earth here that we can never do on Earth, and we try to make the most of that and really enjoy it. We do things like read. We call friends at home and family, try to catch up with people. And we also spend time looking out the window at this magnificent Earth. I've really enjoyed taking pictures and sharing them with people on Earth. We have a few musical instruments up here that some folks play. So there's plenty to do, and the work is kind of fun up here too.
Why do you feel it is important to spend time and money on space exploration?
The investment we make in space is really rather insignificant, in my opinion, given what we get out of it, not only for further space exploration, but for the benefits for life on Earth. And we could talk about some of the specifics, but what I really like to focus on is the fact that this is a place where people have come together who have very real disagreements on our home planet, but have decided the peaceful exploration of space is important and significant. So for the relatively small investment that many countries around the world make, we are demonstrating and learning how to work together and learning how to work peacefully with one another. And to me, that is an amazing return on our investment.
Ricky, we thank you so much for taking this time with us today. We're grateful for the partnership that we share with the military, and we're grateful for all that you have done, especially being a teacher. So thank you so much. And when you return home, we invite you to come to Hinesville, Georgia, and shake hands with every student in this live audience, because I know they want to see you in person. But thank you so much.
Thank you. It's wonderful to be with you. It'd be great to see you in person. And thanks to you and your families for all you do to serve our nation and to serve people around the world every single day. A heartfelt and sincere thank you for all your sacrifice and service.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the event.
Thank you, Ricky, and thank you, participants from Liberty County School District, Rock of the Marne. Station, we are now resuming operational audio communications.